Today we're going to discuss sales tax, gratuity, markups, and total price. Sales tax is a tax imposed by the government at the point of sale, meaning at a store or wherever you happen to be, on retail goods and services. It's collected by the retailer store and passed on to the state. And don't confuse the word sales tax with sales price. A gratuity, also called a tip, and let's fill that in. It's also known as a tip, so I think you've heard that word, is a sum of money customarily given in addition to the payment due for the service or the basic price to a waitress, a cab driver, Uber driver, hairdresser, etc. Markup, the amount added to the cost of price or goods to cover overhead and profit. For instance, if Walmart is able to purchase, let's say, a towel, and it costs them $2, well, they might mark it up $6 more because they have their employees to pay, they have the electricity and all the things that entail keeping up with a building, and so markup is so that the company can make a profit. So all of these are added, that's important, added to find the final price. We'll use two methods today, a proportion method, and we can also model with a tape diagram and use part equals percent times whole or total. We're going to round our answer to the nearest cent as the very last step. And you may use your calculator, but show your work. So let's get started. Marla purchased a backpack for $25. The sales tax rate was 8%. Find the sales tax and the final price, including the tax. So now let's look at method 2. If we drew a tape diagram, 100% of this we already know would be $25. And here's the tricky part. We're not cutting off anything. We're not taking off of this tape diagram. We're actually adding on to. We're adding another part that's 8%. So we're trying to find 8% of $25. So if we just were trying to find the tax, this is what we need. And we continue. If they ask us what the tax is, we'd have to divide 8 by 100 to get 0.08, and then we would take that times 25. We would once again get the answer of 2, and this is the tax alone. So I would put who here, this whole bar is 25, and it makes sense that we would get the same answer of 27. Now, if they told us they just want us to find the final price, including tax, I would start my bargram or my tape diagram again. Remember that this is worth $25 and it's 100% of the bar. We're not chopping anything off. And then I have to add this additional 8%. Now, right now, we know what it is, but we're going to pretend we don't know what it is. Plus, we're trying to add 8%. We're adding those together. So the percent would be 108%. So if they ask for the total, including tax, we have choices. We could find the tax, like we did on the first method, and add it to the $25, or we could use this percent if they ask for the total including tax. So this equation would look like this. Part equals the rate, here's the tricky part, would be 108%. That's 100% of what we're going to pay, which is $25, plus 8% of $25. And if we use this method, we don't necessarily know just the tax, but it's going to tell us the total. And that is still based on the total of $25. Now, this is the total before tax, but we're going to come up with a total including tax. So when we say part, I know this doesn't necessarily fit right here, but we are trying to find all together. You're going to take 108 divided by 100, and it's going to be 1 800ths, or 1.08. And then you're going to multiply that by 25. So you can pause and use your calculator. And sure enough, we're going to get this answer of 27, which we've seen before. So if they ask you what the tax is, you're going to say $2. If they ask you what the final cost is, it's going to be $27. And we have to be super good readers because sometimes they just want the sales tax. Sometimes they want the total. And what we did right here only works if we want to find the total, including the sales tax, basically in one step. Here, we can just still use a tape diagram to find the tax. We can also use our equation, just using just a percent to find the tax. And we can use a proportion to find the tax and add it on. We could also use a proportion this way. If we are looking for the total cost, we might have put 108, that includes the 8% that we added on, and that's going to equal 8 divided by 25. So that this is another version of this. All right, let's move on. The Rosado family went to Olive Garden. The food bill was $45.39. They wanted to leave a tip for the waitress, and the standard tip is 15%. So whenever you hear tip, that's kind of the standard tip is 15% of the bill. How much gratuity, which is the same thing as tip, should they leave? What would be the final cost, including the tip? So we have two ways. We can find the tip and then add it on to find the total cost, or we can add on 15% to 100 to find this part. But since they already asked us what the tip is, we're going to have to do this part anyway, and then we could just add it on. Now, if there's any rounding, we don't do any rounding until the very end. So it doesn't matter what method you use. You can use a proportion, or you could use the part equals rate times total equation. So I'm going to start by finding the gratuity first. So I could set up a proportion or the equation. I'm going to show both. So I would take 15% over 100. That's the standard tip. And it's based on the amount the bill was. So I don't know yet what the 15% is, but I do know that the total was $45.39. On bottom, 100 is 100% of the total amount, and here on this side, this is the total amount. So this is the money, this is the percent. So we're going to want our calculator in a minute. We're going to multiply 100 times x equals, and then 15 times $45.39. Let's pause and do that calculation. All right, so we should have come up with 680 and 85 hundredths. But we're not finished. We now have to solve. We have to divide by 100 on both sides. And this canceled out, leaving x. And on the other side, we get 6.8085. And we know this has to be money. So if they just ask for a gratuity or a tip, we're going to round. However, if they ask for the final cost, we would use this. So let's continue right now and just go ahead and round this because it did ask for just the tip in the first question. We're going to put what dot the heck. So it's either going to be $6.80 or $6.81. This bossy number 8 tells this 0 to go up because this bossy 8 is more than 5. So 5 or more raise the score. So our gratuity is $6.81. We could have also done this using this equation. Part equals 15% times $45.39. once you converted this to a decimal, you would get this same exact answer. So now let's go ahead and let's try the final cost using a tape diagram, just so you're familiar with that method. I'm going to build this tape diagram, and this is the total cost. It's also representing 100%. And the total, excuse me, not the final cost, but the total cost of the bill is $45.39. And to that, we're going to add 15%. And I don't know how much that is in money yet, but if I add these 2%, I'm going to get 115%. And so if I take 115% as my percent, just starting with those two combined, times $45.39, we should get the answer. The same answer is if we added $45.39 plus our answer from this last time. So let's go ahead and see what happens. We're going to take our part, we're going to keep this P, and if we scooped our decimal twice or divided by 100, we get 1.15 times $45.39. So pause and use your calculator, please. So we have 52.1985. And so what we're going to need to do is this is the final step of this particular type of problem. We're going to once again use what dot the heck. So what is 52? The whole number is 52 dot the heck. And so it's either going to be $52.19 total, including the tip, or $15.20. So this bossy 8 tells this 9 to go up 1 penny. So our final cost is $52.20. So now let's make sure, if we would have done this the other way, if we would have taken, and let's go back to this, if I had $45.39, and I did not like the tape diagram way where I attach that and add it and take it as 1%, then I could have found my gratuity separately and added it. So this is how much the bill was, and this is my tax, and I'm working strictly with money. So I would have carry the 1 there, 1 there, and sure enough, we have exactly the same answer. So you can do that. However, when we do this, what I should have done, if we're going to add this on, and it doesn't necessarily change this particular problem, but it may change other problems, I should have added the unrounded version first. And then, after I do that, then we round. Rounding is always the last step. All right, so one more and then we're done for today. So this says it cost JJ's Jewelry $8 to make a beaded necklace. In order to make a profit, the price of the necklace was marked up 90%. How much was the markup, and how much was the final cost of the necklace? So all three of these problems are very similar because they require us to find either one part or both parts, but it requires us to add them on. So we're going to start once more, last time, with a proportion method. And again, you don't have to use this. We'll talk about the equation in a minute. So 90 over 100. I'm starting with the percent. And now I'm going to put X, the markup amount, based on the money amount. That's how much it's based on that 8 that they gave us. So we're going to cross multiply. 100 times X equals 720. And when we go to solve, we're going to divide by 100, divide by 100, and our answer is X equals 7.2. So this is money, and so we want to attach a 0, so $7.20. If I chose to use the equation, it would look like this. Part equals 90% times 8. Then I'd have to scoop the decimal, and I would get part equals 7.2 again, and since it's money, would attach it. So this is what we can write in the markup. Now, we could stop here. We wouldn't have to do the other method if we took the $8 that it cost to make the beaded necklace and added the markup. So cost plus markup. And we should get, if we use the other method, $15.20. That's the final cost. That's how much it would cost somebody to buy the necklace. And then JJ's Jewelry would get back the $8 that it cost them to make it, and then they'd make a profit of $7.20. So now, final step. If you like the tape diagram and this makes sense to you, that's great. I want to show this to you because they frequently ask this type of question on the exam. This is 100% of what it cost JJ to make the necklace, plus the markup. And the markup is pretty big. It is 90%. However, we don't know the money. This is what we're trying to figure out. In fact, we're trying to figure out the entire amount, including the 90% markup. So we're going to add these percents. Since I can't add the money, we don't know what it is yet. So we would start this equation as part equals 190%. That's 100 combined or added to 90. And we're still dealing with the same amount of money, which is $8. So now we would scoop the decimal, and we would get our divide it by 100. We get 1.9, and we would take that times 8. So pause and use your calculator to see if you get 15.2. And sure enough, we get 15.2. Now, once again, we can only use this method if they ask for the final cost, including the markup or the tip or the tax. And then we would have to know to complete that because it's money. I know this is a very long video. Hopefully you're in class today so we can complete these 3. Thank you very much for listening, and have a good evening, afternoon, or morning.